Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at two awesome 26-liter backpacks from Bellroy. Here I have the Transit Workpack and the Venture Ready backpack. And in general, I'm a big fan of a 26-liter size for backpacks because it feels like a sweet spot of something that can work well for your day-to-day, but it will give you a little bit of extra space for traveling. I actually did a whole video talking about how this seems to be a more common backpack size nowadays on some of the newer options that are getting released, and so it makes sense to me, and I've been a big fan of both the Transit Workpack and the Venture Ready series for a while. They offer great feature sets, they're very solidly built, but there are gonna be some similarities and differences that you wanna keep in mind to find the one that's gonna be best for you. So that's what we're gonna be talking about in this video. Before doing so, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, although both of these have a more minimal appearance, I like that they showcase the variety of styles that Bellroy offers. With the Venture Ready pack, you have something that feels more rugged and outdoorsy. You have some attachment points, and just the texture of the bag itself gives it a little bit more of that adventurous vibe. And then with the Transit Workpack, you have something that feels sleeker, more modern, and that's gonna blend right into a more professional setting or for just exploring a city. I think both of these are really versatile. They're gonna be great for traveling, but which one is better for you will really depend on your personal preference for style. And if you're gonna be going into the outdoors, I do think that the Venture Ready is probably gonna be a little bit more at home there, and then the Transit Workpack will be better if you're dressing up and going into the office more regularly. As far as the materials, both of these feel very solidly built. The Venture Ready pack uses a recycled nylon as kind of the primary fabric. They both offer a blend of recycled materials, and then with the Transit Workpack, you have more of a polyester that's recycled as kind of the primary material, but they feel very durable. They're gonna offer a nice amount of weather resistance. I've had great experiences with the various Bellroy bags that I've used over the years, and then you have some well-protected YKK zippers all throughout. One thing that I really like with the updated edition of the Venture Ready pack is that now you have more matte zippers. The original version had kind of the shiny covering on them, so I think that this looks much better with the rest of the aesthetic of the bag. Continuing along the outside, both of these offer a water bottle pocket. That's one of the cool things with the updated edition of the Transit Workpack is that you now have a traditional external pocket. And this is gonna be able to handle something like my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler pretty comfortably. One thing to note about this pocket is that it doesn't have a ton of elasticity, so you kind of have the volume that it comes with. But if the main area is packed out and you want to put something thicker than this, it'll start to kind of eat into the main area's space at a certain point. So you want to keep that in mind, but still like the amount of space that's offered here, even though I do have this loaded out, it was able to fit. And then with the Venture Ready pack, this one also has a more traditional water bottle pocket, and sort of the same thing here, not a super elastic pocket, but it does have some volume that will be able to handle that 26-ounce Yeti Rambler, again, even when the main area is packed out, but it'll start to kind of squeeze against the items that are in there if you want to use something that's going to be larger. And also along the exterior, both are going to offer the ability to just attach something via this loop on the front. On the Transit Workpack, you have the Bellroy logo. The material here feels a little bit more leathery, whereas on the Venture Ready, you have kind of a more standard webbing. And so that's nice to have those. And then with the Venture Ready pack, you also have these attachment points along the front that you can pair with a carabiner if you want to clip on additional accessories. And that again just kind of gives it a little bit more of that outdoorsy and technical feel. And then the logo for the Venture Ready feels really subtle. It's near the top in the middle, but it's blacked out to match the aesthetic of the bag. And so I like that it's not a super prominent large logo. And at the top, both are gonna offer really great carrying handles. I always like Bellroy style for these, just very solid materials here, well reinforced. I like that they're also not super prominent. They kind of blend into the top of the bag while still being super functional. Moving into the capacity, both of these come in at about 26 liters. They're also offered in a smaller 20-liter size, but as I mentioned in the intro to the video, I'm a big fan of this 26-liter capacity for the versatility that it offers. with my height, this is something that I feel comfortable using for my day-to-day, and I like that it gives me a little bit more space or if I want to use it for travel. And then because of Bellroy's kind of design and silhouettes, even when they're more packed out, they both maintain a more streamlined silhouette and profile, which makes them work well in a lot of different situations. These are bags that I would be comfortable using in a more crowded area, jumping on a public transit, and carrying onto a variety of domestic and international airlines. I will say that the 26-liter capacity can work as a personal item, particularly since the structure of these bags isn't super rigid, but the dimensions will probably be past the limit on some of the stricter airlines, and so I think they could work, but if you want to be on the safer side, the smaller versions of these bags will be excellent on pretty much any airline. Continuing with the harness system, so far both bags have been quite comfortable to wear. Bellroy now has a couple of different styles of harnesses depending on the bag that you pick, so I was a little bit surprised that these actually have a pretty similar style. They offer this kind of soft gel-like padding on the straps, which feels really comfortable, and it definitely matches the aesthetic of the Transit Workpack. I would have expected something closer to the light travel pack harness on the Venture just because they seem kind of similar as far as their design. Regardless, this has felt really nice, and then they also have a pretty good width. I wish that the straps were maybe slightly wider on these 26-liter bags, but for the most part, I haven't noticed any fatigue or anything like that. They also offer a magnetic sternum strap, which is really nice. You can adjust that, you can release it quickly. And then on the back panels across Bellroy's bags have been improved quite a bit. I really like the robust padding that both of them include. Slight differences in the style. The padding is well distributed, but with the Transit Workpack series, you have this design here, which still has everything covered, but you have a little bit more support, it seems like, in the lumbar area. And then with the Venture Ready, it just extends all the way down. And so both of these can work well. I think that'll just be kind of more to your preference. And then they both offer a luggage pass-through, which is really great to see so that you can rest this on a suitcase while you're traveling. They have the same orientation, but you can see that the one on the Venture Ready is a little larger, so you'll have some extra flexibility if you have a luggage with a bigger handle. And then it's also just gonna allow you to center the bag a little bit more. I've always thought that the placement on the Transit Workpack in particular was a little bit strange, but both of them get the job done. The one thing that I would have really liked to see, however, is some sort of a side handle, just given how the bags are oriented to make it easier to get them on and off the luggage. Jumping into the organizational options, both of these have effective layouts, but there are gonna be some differences that you'll wanna keep in mind. And so starting with the Transit Workpack, on the front, you have a zippered quick access pocket that's vertically oriented. And this offers a pretty nice amount of space. It's a simpler pocket, but it gives you good dedicated volume, so you can use it for a variety of items. And because of the orientation, you can swing the bag around, reach in and grab what you need. And so it can hold things like a pair of sunglasses very comfortably. And with the volume that's provided, I was even able to store the Evergood Civic Access pouch 1 liter. So I'm always a fan of these kind of larger compartments that give you a lot of flexibility with what you can store. On the inside, you do have a little bit of internal organization with the lanyard and a clip for your keys. And you have a couple of slip pockets for a pen or a stylus. And then moving over to the Venture Ready, on the quick access front, you have one pocket on the side that feels a little bit more hidden, kind of next to the harness. And this offers a good amount of space, and it's a little bit of a taller pocket. At the moment, I just have a pouch in here, and you also have a lanyard with a clip. So this, kind of serves a similar purpose, but it is definitely not quite as spacious overall. I was also able to store a portable battery in here. So you do have a nice amount of space so that you can kind of experiment with different things that you want to store there. And then one thing I forgot to call out earlier is that you have a compression strap on the outside with the water bottle pocket. So if you want to store something a little bit taller, you do have that added functionality here. And then at the top, the Venture Ready also has an additional quick access pocket, which is one of my favorite layouts of any bag. I really love how much volume is provided here and the height. You have a divider in the middle to segment this into 2 separate areas, but each one offers enough space to really be able to handle the items that I would normally want to store in these pockets. And so I have my bulkier sunglasses case in one side, and you have a slip pocket here as well with a nice kind of elastic material. And at the moment, I just have a Field Notes notebook in there. On the other side, I just tossed in some smaller items, my AirPods, I have a headlamp, and then I tossed in a charging cable for my phone, my tablet, and in this area you have a couple of smaller slots for a pen, a stylus. And so, still both offering nice quick access options, but just implemented in a different manner. And then one big advantage for the Transit Workpack is in the laptop compartment because it's separate from the main area. And so you can access it via a zipper on the back. It's well protected. And then this is a well padded and suspended laptop area. You have a nice soft lining on the inside. This should be able to handle a 15 or 16 inch laptop. Currently I have my 14-inch MacBook Pro. You can see there's some leftover space there, and so easy to get this in and out while you're traveling. Now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside, and then you have a pocket here near the top which offers enough space for the tech gear that you might want to have near your laptop. In my case, I actually just have my USB-C hub with the cables that I use to charge my items while I'm on the go, but this can also work well with some of the pouches in Bellroy's ecosystem. The Venture Ready also has a good laptop sleeve, but it's integrated into the main area, which can be helpful as far as saving on space and weight, but it can also make it a little bit harder to get your device in and out when the bag is packed. Both of these offer a clamshell style main area, but you can also just open it up from the top a little bit to grab something easily. And here you can see the laptop sleeve. Right now I have this loaded out with a minimal travel setup, and so if I wanted to put my laptop in there, we'll take a closer look when I empty it, but I can get it in and out this way if I need to. It's not terribly uncomfortable, but it's not as convenient as having a dedicated laptop compartment, so something to keep in mind. But again, both of these with their clamshell style, I'll go ahead and open them so that we have full visibility into the main compartment. And so I have more of a daily loadout in the Transit Workpack at the moment, and then I have my travel loadout in the Venture Ready. As I've done with some of these videos in the past, I'll just kind of swap the loadouts between the two bags so you can get a sense of the differences, but with the 26 liters, they should be able to hold a similar amount. And so in the Transit Workpack at the moment, I have my Beats Studio wireless headphones, a couple of different pouches. I have the Bellroy Venture pouch, Civic Access pouch 1/2 liter. I have the Bellroy Tech case, which I've really been enjoying as of late. I like the extra rigidity and padding that it provides when I'm carrying many of my hard drives in particular. Here I have a Lockbee Tech pouch. I have the Alpaca Admin pouch, and I also have the Civic Access pouch 2 liters. And so with the compartment now empty, you can get a better look at the inside. You do have a little bit of internal organization with a slip pocket on the side, so great for something a little smaller, some charging accessories, portable battery, a mouse. And then on the back, you have a slip pocket that has a nice elastic material. This is actually pulled up a little bit, and so at the moment I just have my iPad in here, but you can use it to separate out other items. And as Bellroy has been including in some of their other bags, you have the ability to store an air tag here in the label. And on the lid, you have one additional compartment, a zippered pocket, that is gonna offer a nice amount of capacity, that same kind of stretchy mesh that Bellroy tends to use. And you have a nice amount of volume here and an additional slip pocket where I'm currently just storing my mouse, but this could have been a good spot for a battery or other EDC items as well. So even though it's a simpler layout, I think that it's very effective. And so I'll move the items that I currently have in the Venture Ready backpack to the Transit Workpack, so it will work for minimal travel quite comfortably. Here I have a larger compressible packing cube from Peak Design, and I also have the smaller one, so both of these fit in here comfortably. Then I had a DOP kit. There was still some extra space if I wanted to put another pouch or an extra pair of shoes or something like that, and then I can zip this up and it will close with no problem. Still have some leftover space if I need to. I could still also use this compartment on the front. And so really great minimal travel bag. And then those items were in the Venture Ready. Clearly they fit. And while this compartment is empty, I'll go ahead and showcase the layout. So they both have the same sort of slip pocket here to prevent something smaller from falling into the bottom of the bag. This one also has the AirTag holder in the label. And then here you can get a better look at the laptop sleeve. So you have a slip pocket here where you could place your tablet if you wanted to. I'll go ahead and toss the iPad mini in there. And this sleeve is suspended off the bottom of the ground. So you can drop your laptop in and it's not gonna be making contact. So really great implementation there. And then the sleeve itself offers a nice amount of padding and this will be able to handle 15 or 16-inch laptop. My 14-inch MacBook Pro fits without any issues, and so really like the implementation here. On both of them, it really does feel like your device is going to be well protected. It'll really just come down to how easily you want to access and whether you prefer to just have the simpler layout of the Venture or the dedicated access. And then on the lid for this one, you have a little bit more organization. You have a zippered pocket on the bottom with that nice elastic material that you can use for a variety of different things. And you also have one at the top. And I really love the zipper being in the middle here, which means that no matter how you open the flap up, you can use this pocket without everything falling out, which is a really great design choice. So if I'm accessing it from the top, everything will kind of get caught here. And if I'm flipping it over, everything will get caught here. And then same materials and a nice amount of capacity. So even though it's on the same kind of face as this top pocket, this has independent volume, so you can use this without any issues. It's not a super large pocket, but again, with the materials that are offered, you have a good amount of flexibility. So really nice layout there. And just for the sake of showing the EDC loadout in this one, I'll toss all those items in. So cap 2, and then I have the Alpaca admin pouch, the Lockbee pouch, the Bellroy Tech Kit, the Civic Access pouch 1/2 liter, and then my Beats Studio wireless headphones. I also had the Civic Access pouch 1 liter. And so all of these items fit, again, with leftover space, particularly for a daily loadout. It's not gonna completely pack the bag out quite as much. So at the top here, you can see I could use this compartment. I could toss in an extra jacket if I wanted to, another pouch maybe. So 26 liters will give you plenty of flexibility with the types of items that you can store and how much you can carry on any given day. So really love the layout and the space on both of these. I think that they offer a ton of versatility. And so the last thing I want to talk about is the pricing of these two bags. The Transit Workpack V2 in the 26 liter capacity comes in at about $200, and the Venture Ready Pack 26 liter capacity comes in at about $260. So there's definitely a bit of a difference there that will impact your decision. If budget and cost is going to be the most important thing, then the Transit Workpack will help you save a little bit of money. But I think that both of these offer a good amount of durability and features for the price points. They're going to compare well against other similar bags in their respective ranges. And so besides the pricing, which one of these is going to be best for you? Well, the style, of course, is going to be a big thing. Again, coming back to the beginning, if you want something that's maybe more appropriate for an office setting, a little sleeker, the Transit Workpack is going to be great. If you want a bag that you can take into the outdoors, the Venture Ready Pack is going to blend right in. They're both going to be durable, they're both going to be comfortable. And then the other thing to consider is how important the dedicated laptop compartment is. If you want to have that, then the Transit Workpack will give you that extra benefit. And if you prefer not to have it, or you don't really carry a laptop with you that regularly, then the Venture Ready may be worth checking out. But both of these are going to be very versatile. I love the style. And if you're interested in kind of an all-purpose bag that's going to give you a nice amount of space, these are going to be fantastic options to consider. And so that's it. Those are some of the similarities and differences between the Transit Workpack and the Venture Ready Backpack. Hopefully this video was helpful, and if you have any questions on anything that I covered in the video or suggestions for similar bags that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I'll make sure to include links in the description below to some of the other comparison videos that I've done that have featured Bellroy's bags, as well as to the roundup videos that I've done where I've talked through some of my favorite minimal travel bag options, my favorite personal item bags, some of my favorite tech and EDC options. And if you have ideas for other roundups or comparisons that you'd like to see, definitely let me know about those as well. And I want to thank Bellroy for sending the bags for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.